Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris and I just got done watching Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. So in this sequel to the first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, it takes place 9 months later and Grindelwald himself has escaped prison. It is here where young Dumbledore, played by Jude, enlists the help of one of his favorite students, Newt Scamander, in order to stop the crimes of Grindelwald. And that's all pretty much said without giving any spoilers to you guys. This is a spoiler-free review. I'm just going to tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like, hit you with a rating system just like this one, breaking down the elements of the film and giving you a final ranking. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I love a lot of things from the stuff that you can tell on my wall, but Harry Potter was never really one of them. And that just might be because I just had a limited imagination. Even trying to sit down and read those books, I could just never picture that stuff correctly in my mind. But hey, we've all had ABC Family, or I think Freeform is what it's called now, once in our lives. And they seem to always play a Harry Potter marathon around Christmas time. So eventually I got around to checking out those movies. And hey, they're pretty awesome. So I'm a casual fan as can be of this franchise. I'm not a diehard. I don't know everything about them. Just want to make that clear for you guys because I'm not going to pretend to be a Potterhead because I don't know if that's something I'd want to pretend to be. Let me go to some of the positives. For one, the thing I appreciate most at going into this franchise, since they're trying to make 5 of these Fantastic Beasts movies, is we were done with the first one. Because the big jarring effect of the first one is that we had to introduce all the characters, all the backstories, and how to make convoluted reasons for them all to be in the same room, especially the character of Jacob. But in this movie, they're all well established. You know who your substitute Harry Potter is, your substitute Hermione, your substitute Ron. So taking that into effect, you already have a liking to these characters and you could expand more on the story, and this movie definitely did that. Because from the last movie, when that ended, the only character I found myself connected to and enjoying was the character of Newt. And again, in this movie, I love him even more, especially with all the backflashes to younger him in Hogwarts. This kid was just always a pure soul. But the most important part is by the end of this movie, it had me attached to every supporting character in this movie. At least on the protagonist side. You had Jacob, who I thought was just really shoehorned in to the first Fantastic Beasts, and I thought especially so that they were bringing him back. But in this movie, they seal his faith into being involved in this franchise. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'm really enjoying the arc they're doing with Jacob and his story. Jumping off from Jacob, though, you also have Queenie, who again had a very interesting arc in this movie, and it has my curiosity to where this is going to play out and how it's going to go. And lastly, with Tina, because her relationship with Newt by the end of the movie seemed a little forced, like, okay, these are the two pretty people in the movie, so they kind of have to end up together. But in this movie, they really took their time to delve into these characters. This movie just really sealed all the character development I needed for me to carry on with these characters for future installments. Now, I know they're saying they're probably not always going to be the center focus since they're planning to do 5 movies, but I kind of would be bummed out if they got rid of Newt as the main character because I'm really digging this dude and his plethora of friends. Another positive thing that some people might find a negative is that they're kind of doing away with the Fantastic Beast aspect. Now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of new creatures in this movie, especially Nifflers. If you like Nifflers from the first movie, you're gonna be happy. But I like how they weren't really the focus of the movie, because honestly, the first half of the first movie was sort of like the Goosebumps movie where all the beasts came out and you had to go hunt them down one by one. In this movie, they shy away from that, but they still introduce new beasts. They are also important to certain parts of the story, but they're not the biggest focus. You'll still learn a new creature, you'll still learn a new thing about them, and it'll expand the world, but they are no longer the center focus, and I kind of like that. But I still enjoyed how they found a way to integrate them into the plot of the story. This movie is a great stepping stone to the future installments of the Fantastic Beasts franchise. I had a lot of fun with it. It made me laugh. It's definitely a family-friendly movie. The music is always great. All the Harry Potter movies have great scores and just ominous moments of the music playing to really tone out what you're seeing on the screen. So this movie is a for sure great step for the Fantastic Beasts franchise, but it does, however, have some negatives I'm going to touch upon. For me personally, I always say the second episode in any series, whether it's television or a long film franchise, always seems to be the most tedious. The reason for that is because you have to start out with a bang with your first movie. And then if you're planning to do several movies, you have to start building up your story. So the second movie will always be about setting groundwork for future installments. And this movie definitely is that. Because while it is fun, while it does a great job with the characters that I wasn't too happy with in the first movie, everything that kind of happens in this movie is just a setup. It doesn't really have a payoff at the end. It definitely ends on a cliffhanger. It definitely has a lot lot of loose threads. It definitely leaves you with a lot of questions. And I think a lot of that has to do with J.K. Rowling continued writing the scripts for these movies, which I think is a great thing because who else knows the world best than J.K. Rowling? But she is sort of writing it like a book and ending a chapter, leaving you on a cliffhanger and begging for more. And while that's awesome in book form or as a solo chapter, as a movie itself, it feels a little incomplete. So it left me with some wizardy blue balls. Was that a good joke? Let me know. I'm gonna count that as a minor or maybe just a nitpick on my part, but the biggest thing that really drew this movie back for me is the character of Credence. Now, Ezra Miller is a wonderful actor, and I love him in Perks of Being a Wallflower and other projects he's done, but in this movie, I just really don't enjoy the portrayal of Credence. This character is so conflicting, and we're supposed to sympathize of his tragic background, an orphan that was abused, but at the same time he's also this menacing, evil, obscurest thing. Attach that also to Grindelwald, if you put the Johnny Depp controversy aside, because I don't think about that when watching this movie. I'm just not really enjoying these two as the villains for this franchise. I don't really see the connection, and maybe that has a lot to do with me not knowing the history of Harry Potter or how important this character is in the Wizarding World timeline. But to me, every time they come on screen, they don't really do anything. They just give a bunch of speeches, or Ezra Miller's character turns into that fuzzy CGI blob, and then they're gone off the screen. I don't really find them menacing yet. I don't really find them as a threat. Of course, they're powerful wizards. Of course, they have powerful abilities, but I never really get that feeling of despair from watching them on screen. So they still have a ways to build up those characters for me, because as of these two movies so far, it's not really doing it for me. But really, that's my only gripe. They have time to change that out, and there is a twist in this movie that I'm not going to spoil that I think it leaves for some interesting footprints and will have Harry Potter fans looking back to previous movies, not just the Fantastic Beasts movies, the previous Harry Potter movies, analyzing them and looking for clues for what happened in this movie. But like I said, really great installment. I had a good time. I enjoyed it. It has my curiosity. It has my interest. I'm looking forward to the next one now. I wasn't really having that feeling after the first Fantastic Beasts, but with this one, we got the ball rolling. Alright, so for Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, I'm gonna give action 3 stars. There is definitely a lot more action in this movie than the previous one. A lot more wizardy play. That sounded dirty, but what I mean is just people fighting back and forth with their wands. Comedy in the film, I'm also gonna give it 2.5 stars. There are goofy moments or slapstick stuff that's meant for the kids to laugh at, but there are also great moments of comedy. Drama in the film, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Like I said, this is very heavy in storytelling and setting up future installments. It definitely piques my interest and has my curiosity for where this franchise is going to go. Art in the film, I'm going to give it 0 stars. There really isn't anything scary other than the beast, but they're all made out to be cute, fun-loving creatures. Suspense of film, I'm going to give it 2 stars because there weren't a lot of moments where it was building up my suspense because it was setting up stuff that I knew was not going to be answered in this movie just because of the time constraint. Casual fans, I'm going to give it an A-. Cinephiles, I'm going to give it a B+. And critically, I'm going to give it a B-. For Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, I'm gonna recommend you watch it in theaters. But that's just really my opinion on the film, guys. Let me know what you thought about Fantastic Beasts if you got around to seeing it. And please, if you're a big Harry Potter fan, read the books, or just watched all the movies, analyzed all that stuff, let me know how you felt about the movie down below, because I'm curious to hear your thoughts, because I don't really know a lot of people around me who are big fans of Harry Potter. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.